for this week's review for everybody at home, we are doing Wolfman, which is a 2025 release that just came out this week. For those of you who are new, we will do a very spoiler-free part at the start with our overall views on the movie and give it a score, and then we'll move on to a spoilered section, which will be really getting into our thoughts on certain specific scenes. So obviously you can skip that part if you don't want to know too much about it. This one I think I had high hopes for, Daz, because of the writer and director. I'll just give the quick synopsis and then what it's about, that kind of stuff, and then we'll get stuck into we'll get stuck into kind of what we thought of it. And I can already feel the disappointment in my voice as I speak, because it's just because I liked, I do like Lee Winnell. I like the stuff that he's done, like this particular one. It's a family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal. As the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable. And it's loosely based off the original 40s one, with Lon Chaney Jr. playing the title role. And then, of course, that's the 2000 and whatever it was, 10 one with Benicio del Toro, I think, as well, is also based off that, which I arguably think is a better movie than this. And they've I don't really think they've kind of, the story has changed a good bit, but they've kept the look of the werewolf very old. Like, it's a very 40s kind of look, because I think if you look at, say, werewolves now, they've got this, either they're big, just standing up, on two legs with a big fucking wolf head, like Underworld, or they're just full on actual wolves, like fucking Tyler, whatever the fuck his name is in Twilight, when he's an actual wolf. Did you ever see that the mocap of that of is what's her face, Kristen Stewart, and the guy who's playing him, Tyler, whatever the fuck, and he's got they have him in a mocap suit, so they didn't just CG this big green thing and then put it. So the thing is her petting this massive wolf, but when it cuts to the actual mocap, like before CGI, they have your man he's sitting there wearing a full mocap suit. So rather than her petting this big wolf, she's petting him, and he's just going to sit on a rock like Gollum while she's there petting. Look, I'll see if I can send it on to you. Like, fucking ridiculous.
Do.
Like, why did he need to be in the scene? Like, it's just, why did he put him in the mocap suit? It's a wolf on 4 fucking legs. It's just,
do I really need to be here?
Yeah, exactly. This just is fucking. It's like maybe he wanted to do it.
I love it.
But yeah, anyway, like it's like this was going to be part of the whole Universal Monsters thing. The with the Tom Cruise Mummy one.
The Mummy,
and that was going to be then, of course, lead on to Russell Crowe being, because he was Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. But that was so shit that they were kind of like, no, we're just ditching this.
It after one movie, like 2014 or something. Just like, fuck, that's a bad idea. But don't announce your cinematic universe before you release anything.
Exactly. Wait, see how it goes, and then go, oh, by the way, we're glad you enjoyed it, because here's what we have coming, But no, they were just like, this is going to be the start of something new, and no, it was shit. But the Lee Winnell, who actually did The Invisible Man, was so well received, because it's a good movie, it's good fun.
I didn't see that, actually.
Oh, the effects are incredible. Like when she's getting attacked, by the invisible dude with the, it's guys in fucking green full on morph suits, but it looks fantastic. It's a great performance as well, by Elizabeth Moss. And I think that did so well. They're like, okay, well, fucking, let's throw him in and do the next one, and let's get it started again. But now, this is shit. It's probably going to get cancelled again. This whole Monsters universe fucking thing. But yeah, like as I said, Lee Winnell I'm generally a fan of his because of, he does a bit of everything. Like, he writes, directs, he acts. Like, he wrote Saw, and there's a very obvious nod to Saw in this at one point. He wrote and directed and wrote Upgrade. He wrote and directed The Invisible Man. Both great. So like he has a good pedigree, which is why I was expecting a good bit going into this.
And he's so inventive. He's so inventive, and he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeves. Very talented man.
Definitely, yeah. And it was produced then as well by Jason Blum, and its main stars are Christopher Abbott, who we mentioned a few weeks ago in Craven. He was what was it called? The Foreigner. And Julia Garner, who is just wonderful. She just seems to go from strength to strength. I can't wait to see her as Silver Surfer. So what are your overall feelings, Daz, before we get into kind of a little bit more specifics and stuff about it? What's your overall feeling of the movie?
I loved this. No, this is not a very good movie. It's a strange one because I don't think it's particularly, I don't think it's a bad movie, but I didn't find it scary in any way, shape, or form, and that's saying something maybe in a fucking baby when it comes to scary movies, especially movies like this when it's families and woods and a house and that kind of stuff. The trailer seemed to give away the 3 jump scares. There are only spoiler. There are 3 jump scares in the fucking movie, and they give them all away, which is unfortunate because I'm not a fan of jump scares, but they were very effective in the movie at their particular moments. Just made sense for them to happen. But I just found it incredibly underwhelming and kind of bland and dull for a lot of it. You're kind of going, and at the end I was like, is that it? Is that it? That, like, the start of the movie, they like, there's so many themes that they're kind of not so much leading in with, but there's there's stuff about generational drama, and there's kind of like marital upset in the family, like they're not getting on and this kind of stuff, and you're just like, oh, okay, and someone living kind of rurally and going to urban environments and then moving back to rural, and just like, is this gonna, there's interesting themes at play there, and they don't do anything with them whatsoever. It just becomes this very plodding survival kind of, not even, it's just a survival thing where people just happen to survive because the plot needs them to. It's very inconsistent in what the wolf can do and speeds that, I just found it very just underwhelming, and that's it's not the most there's so many grander fucking and more awful words you could use to describe it, but underwhelming really just, I think, cuts to the bone here. I was just going, this, like, what's the point? Like, really, what's the point? Because there's some really good things that we'll get into, and camera work and stuff like that, and lighting and sound and stuff. But I think it's directed really well.
Oh yeah,
but it's just it
feels like something that was rewritten by multiple people or something, because the pacing is so off, as you said. Like the whole idea, as I said in the synopsis, about the the marriage and stuff, like as you mentioned there about marriage difficulties or whatever. Like they barely introduced that, and we don't go into too much of them and animosity. It's really just one incident kind of them in the kitchen where we get that kind of vibe, and they don't really play enough into it for us to get to buy into why they're going off to do this. Like, she's this workaholic, doesn't put in that much fight when they're kind of have to go to this cabin, and but yet when we do get introduced to the I suppose the danger and everything that's going to happen, the kick off, that happens so soon. It happens very, very quickly. That I was like, whoa, wow, we're getting right into it.
Fucking straight away.
I was like, okay, well,
really?
I was like, okay, well, that's like, and sometimes you want that, but where the rest of the movie is going to take place is all what we see in the trailer. It's in this remote farmhouse kind of thing. Is that you're leaving the whole rest of the movie to take place in this. You're going to have to make it fucking interesting. You're going to have to have some story to it as well. But you don't, as you said, there's like it's dragged to certain parts that are just kind of dragged out and kind of going, is anything going to fucking happen here? Is his transformation seems to happen over fucking hours and what feels like fucking days, but it's going on for fucking
it's the
forever.
Longest night, like, it's just like, because it happens in one night. I was curious to ask you, like, what were your thoughts on the transformation? Because for me, that it's in the middle of two things. It's like American Werewolf in London and stuff like that, where it's the transformation happens in one fucking scene, and it's like, holy shit, And then there's other stuff like, The Fly, where it's much more gradual and you get more time for the characters to react to kind of what's happening. It's like, oh, a tooth came out, I wonder what that's about. It's just, but in this, it's in the middle of the two of them. It happens over a few hours or whatever in one night. But it's like, oh, it's a tooth, and then there's this, and then the character is one way and goes outside for fucking, the wolf main character goes outside for like fucking 3 minutes and comes back, and he's completely changed. Like, he's gone through like to stage 2 to stage fucking 8 transformation. You're just going, where's the time to, like, all the reactions to this are just kind of the wife kind of gasping, and the kid going, oh, daddy, and it's just, it feels like it's the transformation. You're not getting enough reaction to the transformation, but it also feels like it's happening too fast and too slow at the same time, which is just I just couldn't get into that. It just like nothing was happening relationship wise or character wise. Like Julia Garner is amazing, 3-time Emmy winning she's astonishing actress, and she has fucking nothing to do bar one scene where she talks to him and says like I always loved you or something like that, and even that scene is just like so flat and just going, there's nothing here. There's like, I don't care about any, like there's the kid maybe a little bit, but even it's all just reactions that like, oh shit, a tooth fell out, oh shit, he's eating his arm, like what's happening? It's just, I found it very it was just strange, just really
here's what I got while watching it, and that whole thing of him getting his becoming the wolf and like the stuff, because he starts to be able to hear stuff and he sees different things, and like that's what it's almost like when Peter Parker gets bitten by the spider, and then we start to see his powers as he gets them. But like this, I was actually thinking when I was watching that and how long they took to do it, I was like, you know what, fucking Morbius getting his powers was more enjoyable than this. Morbius discovering his powers when he was when he's recording notes like a dot, like I've just discovered I can do that. I was like, who are those notes for? Nobody's willing to read these now. These are just for you. Why are you recording it? You're talking to yourself. It's obviously for the audience. But that his whole montage of getting his powers is better than this. And it's just, it shouldn't be saying that. Morbius is an abomination of a movie.
Jesus Christ, no. But that like touches on like cinematography wise. There's like a couple of cool things, and you can see that it's something that the director wrote down on a page and kind of went, I've got this really cool idea to show, from the point of view of the person who is going through the transformation. And the first time to do it, it's fucking brilliant, because you see from one side and the camera kind of pans around, and you start to see what he sees, and there's kind of night vision coming through, and he can understand people, and that's just fucking brilliant. And I think they do that like 2 or 3 times, and because let's say his wife can understand him, but then when the camera goes to his point of view, he's talking clearly and he can understand her, and that's great. And I was like, oh, we're going to get this transformation from the point of view of him, like for the movie, is it like, because that'd be fucking cool, like what's it going to be like in his thoughts when he's losing his mind and turning into Wolfman? But that just turns out to be just a really fancy cool gimmick, because it goes back to normal. It's a straightforward, we're following the family as they try and escape their fucking crazy Wolfman dad, and we never get that point of view of him after a certain point in the movie, which
I actually have that word written down.
Like that would have been really fucking cool. Like that would have elevated. You could do the same movie, but just do it from his perspective and how he's losing his mind and how is he thinking. Because again, it's we get into it, spoilers, but it's very inconsistent about. He goes full wolf, wants to kill them. Then does he? Just what's his motivation? You really want to hear what the fuck he's thinking, and they allude to that, but they don't follow through in it at all. And this movie, because as you said, it's like in our text afterwards, like thankfully it's 90 fucking minutes or whatever, but I'd say there's a lot that was chopped down to get it to that place, and there's certain points we'll get into where it looks like it was cut by committee, like that a focus group kind of went, hey, I don't really understand that. Let's put the kid saying this, and then we'll get it. That kind of shit happened a lot. So.
I have to agree. Yeah, like I think for the most part, like it's such a shame. Like it's shot great. The blacks are so properly dialed in. There's a great scene where you see what he can see and what she can see, what the family can see and stuff. And it's just it's really properly black. And I love that when you kind of what the fuck is out there kind of thing. Some of the shots are gorgeous, but I wrote the word gimmick down as well when it came to that view, that kind of drift in between the two. And I love it. The camera kind of pans around and we see, there's the kind of vibrant kind of colors and stuff that he is back in, and they just don't understand each other. Yet, when you see in the trailer, this isn't a spoiler, this is one of the trailers, him writing on the piece of paper, he's still writing English. And he writes a piece of paper and hands it to her because he can't fucking talk. They can't understand each other, yet he's still able to write that word. So he can understand enough to write the word on the paper, English word in English, and she can read it. So it's like, well, does he understand English or not? Because he's able to write this word down, and it's just, why didn't she just go, right, well, I'll get a pen and a pad, and if you can't understand what I'm saying, I'll start writing it down. Maybe then you can understand it. That was just a bit confusing as to what why why he's able to read it, but he can't understand it when she's speaking it. It just comes out as like, someone playing it backwards,
Yeah.
It was weird.
It's just odd. Like, but like the sound, like even the bit when he starts getting, I was going to say it's getting his powers, when you get a bit of sound design where he's hearing something, he's following it around the house, and you find out what it is and stuff, and that's like a spider in the wall or whatever, and it's like, it's kind of cool. You're just going, but there's a lot of time dedicated to that specific thing that he's going through, and when it's 90 minutes, you're just going, you could kind of get on with it here, but that's it. It's cool. It works as a a pitch piece where you're just going, I've got this cool scene where he hears this blah blah blah, and and you get a sense and everything, and like with the visuals of seeing what he's seeing and hearing what he's hearing, they all work really well as things that should support a greater piece of screenwriting, but they are they're the highlights, and everything around it doesn't match it, and these things are not really that necessary. It's just it's very, very, very odd movie. But the acting is decent, but
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it on the head though at the start, as you were saying. But there's like script wise, I mean, they don't have much to work with. I mean, the performances are really good. I enjoyed both of them. I thought I was buying into both of them. I really thought that at the start we were going to get something different from him and maybe his background. There's just a kind of we'll get into it in the spoiler freak thing, but there's a conversation with the daughter that made me think there was more going on in the past, that he's trying to be a different person or something like that, which they just don't follow. But they don't have a massive amount to do, but I did think they were decent, competent, doing the best they could. Like I think I know you've mentioned cinematography and the effects and stuff. They're good because with Blumhouse, it generally happens like they know how to make the most out of a smaller budget. That's usually what they look. They look like more expensive movies than they really are because of how good they are production wise and what they get from their effects team and production company and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is that this one was actually on a decent sized budget. Like this was 25 million was the budget. And for the most part, it's just set in a remote location. And what's good about remote locations like this at nighttime is that you can get away with messing with the geography a little bit because people don't really know the full layout. And so it's you can actually get away with it a bit more. Yet this doesn't look like a 25 million movie.
When I saw it was 25 million, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, if I found out this was 5 million, you go, oh, that's really good because their use of practical effects is great. It's nice to see fingernails and stuff falling off, or scratches and bloody arms and stuff that's an actual prosthetic, and that's fantastic. But there's, I guess, minimal CG work in this, but it's 25 million. You're just going, fucking hell, man. It's 90% of it is in one location, and the other part is fucking driving in a car. Like the car crash sequence is you can see there's a bit of money in that. You can imagine, but 25 million is like, you don't see that on the screen. You really fucking don't. Like, I think the substance is whatever was it, 20 million, 20 30 million or something, and you see that on the screen. It just looks fucking premium. This looked like a well-made kind of indie movie, but not 25 million.
Definitely not 25 million. No. I think the one thing, because we haven't mentioned, there is some good stuff in it, and we're not saying that it's all terrible. I thought the sound design was excellent. Like, I love the sound design. Like, there's so much of it that's made to sound like it's a wolf when it's not really. But there's a part where he's kind of at the sink doing dishes, and everything's making these growling noises that aren't actually what they are. There's really good use of sound in this to kind of not only keep you on edge, but just really clever use of it. I really thought that was the kind of standout thing to me as I was listening to it. I was like, actually, this is great. The kind of, is there something else inside the house? Is it off? Like that thing you said with the spider, you can hear the scratching about.
Yeah, it's great.
What the fuck is this going to be? And of course, for an arachnophobe like me, it was horrific. But
that's brilliant.
I was like, if this spider jumps, man, I'm going to lose it.
He's going to leave it in his face.
But I love the sound design. What did you think of that?
Oh, it's just, excellent. It's just lots of, like when you're in a remote location like that, sound design is going to be paramount. The spider sequence was brilliant, but even his transformations and stuff, just that you don't even have to see it; you can just feel like a sound of a bone just lodging or moving to a new position or stuff. Or when he pulls his jaw and stuff, just locks it. Simple things like that, but it was more terrifying than anything I was watching. If that makes sense. It's just kind of eerie, and like when there's bits where he's kind of scratching his arm and there's a cut in his arm, and it's just the Foley artist did an absolutely astonishing job.
Yeah,
probably like stabbing a lot of watermelons, get all those
people.
Man,
those people don't get paid enough. They're fucking amazing when you see them at the work and stuff they go through to get some. Yeah, they're excellent. But yeah, I thought the sound design was great, and I had no issues with the score at all. The score was actually half decent as well.
It's decent.
Yeah. Is there anything else on the movie itself before we give our final scores and move on to Spoiler Town?
No, not really. Just like, just the fact that it seemed like a really good setup for something, and got to a point, and there was that point where you get the shift to you get an idea that might be seeing it from his perspective, and that I perked up in the cinema at that point because I was in the cinema on my own. Like, no, I went to fucking see this movie. But the minute they pivoted away from that aspect, lost me completely, and it just kind of plodded along until its resolution. And I just thought that I don't even know, can't even tell when the last act started, because it seemed like the last act was the last fucking 60 minutes of it.
Yeah,
the end of it I thought was just so lame.
I think I'd agree with regards to the especially with regards to the writing, like what Leigh Whannell should have done maybe was just completely write his own story. I think he was trying to be faithful to the original 1940s one, which is, it's slightly different kind of story, but it's still someone and family member passing and going up to the old I think it's a brother, I think, in the original. But anyway, he's kind of kept, maybe it's because he tried to stick to something to do an homage to that movie. Maybe if he just went off into his own kind of penned his own script, we could have got something a bit cooler, a bit different. But it's a bummer.
What would you give it?
Yeah, if I'd give it 2 stars, one for the sound and one because I thought the performances were competent, but I didn't think it was a very good movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, 2 for me as well. Exact same. It's just the sound design was good, and some of the gore and kind of body morphing body kind of stuff was interesting.
You can't deny that the very practical stuff done, like the camera work, the way it's shot, all kind of stuff. That's all grand. There's no real complaints there from that, but it's just plot wise, script wise, dialogue is just oof.
Go see it.
Yeah, don't go see it.
Thanks a million for everyone for getting in touch and giving us feedback and watching, subscribing, streaming, all the above. Keep it coming, and we will talk to you next week. See you later.
Take it easy.